Okay, so now that we've talked about the people in your life, now let's talk about pets. Because when we have pets, we're the ones who are supposed to be taking care of them in a disaster. And I can tell you from personal experience, it is so important to have all the supplies ready for your pets. They are considered a member of the family, so we want to take care of them as we would anyone else. About a year ago, I evacuated successfully 240 cats in 90 minutes. Yes, I was herding cats, and that video is on this channel. You should check it out. You'll love it. You'll see me chasing cats around. It was an amazing experience. I got to see what a huge cat shelter was like, and all these cats were really different in personality, and it makes a difference when you're dealing with them in disasters. So just like with people, do your pets need to have their own disaster backpack? Yes, they absolutely do. And I'm not going to go into every single type of pet. In fact, one of the things I will be doing in the future, I'm going to be creating videos for every different kind of animal. So in the comments, write down animals where you would like me to create a couple of videos of the 5-pocket method for that particular animal type. And I'll create lots of different things for you. I'll give you lots of great ideas and how to construct a backpack specifically for them. But before I do it, let me mention one thing. There is something that should always be in your disaster kit if you have a pet. If you have a pet, or pets plural, no matter what, as pet parents, what you need to do for every single animal is you need to take a picture of yourself with your pet and print it out. I mean it. You can have it on your cell phone, but you know how I feel about that. You should print it out and add it to your papers. And on the back, it should say that your pet's name and any other information. But you should have a photo of you and your pet. Why? Because if in a disaster you are separated from them and then they go into what's called a communal shelter, so they have an emergency shelter run by ASPCA or Humane or one of those organizations, what they're going to do is they're going to put the animal in there in order to reunite you. One of the things they're going to do is they're going to want to see a picture. And then there's some other things they also do, but having the photo makes a big difference, especially when we're talking about lots of animals at the same time. So when I've done disaster programs for horses, there are very, very, very specific types of documentation you need to have when you are moving a horse from one type of equine shelter to another equine shelter. There are things that deal with when we're dealing with pigs and other types of animals, birds, and even cats, of course. Cats are very specific in some of the things you should add into their kit that don't really apply to any other animals. Even things like reptiles, things that go into plastic cages where they're just totally encased in there. Make sure that they have their kit, especially if you plan to rapidly evacuate them. If you live in a location where it is likely you're going to have to evacuate them very quickly, you need to have things in their kit and ready to go. One of the things with pets and the consideration also is you need to make sure they're used to being crated, because you're going to have to crate them. I understand that that's not for everybody, but in most instances you're going to have to crate them. And even if you don't, let's say you don't. So let's say you say, I don't ever crate my animal. Well, if they're not used to being crated, if they are taken to a communal animal shelter, they're going to be placed in a crate. And if they're not used to being in there, that's going to create a problem for the rescuers and otherwise. So you need to make sure the animals are used to being transported. They're used to being around other animals. You need to, and be aware of how they react with other animals. There's a ton of considerations, can't go into them today, but you need to create a unique disaster backpack specifically for your pets. In the comments below, please place some animals where you would like me to create a video specifically for them, and I will do one on them for the 5 pockets, because I ultimately want to do one for every different kind of animal. I've done disaster preparedness for virtually every kind of animal you can imagine, certainly in different types. I've worked even with alligators, I've worked with honeybees, which are obviously insects, but lots of different kinds of creatures and things. They have very unique needs, but I'm happy to assist you because I want you to have the best planning possible in a backpack. And once again, it won't require you to write anything down. Everything will be directly in that backpack. This is Disaster Patrick, and remember, prepare for a disaster and you'll never experience one.